begin in KwaZulu-Natal, where His Majesty King Misuzulu kaZwelithini has had strong words for those who try to tell him how to run the Zulu nation at the annual Reed Dance. Nobuhle Modise is in Pongola and joins us now live. Nobuhle, good to have you. Critics of the king on TikTok got a lashing, but most importantly, even academia got a lashing from the king this afternoon. What did you hear?
Good afternoon, Thabo. In fact, when he first started speaking, many of us were unsure who or what he was referring to. In fact, I had assumed that he was speaking to human rights activists who have, been talking about the practice of virginity testing. Then he continued on, and that's when we heard that he was actually very unpleased with an analyst that is used by another TV station, and he says his utterances, are unacceptable, saying that the Zulu nation should know that once somebody insults the king, they are in essence insulting the nation, saying that he won't stand for it, even cautioning the media and social media around the kind of reports that are done with regards to the royal household. But also quite interestingly today, through the course of the day, when the maidens were laying their wreaths around Isibaya, we saw the incoming Queen uNdlunkulu Sihle waKwaMdluli also laying her own wreaths, which when you ask some experts here, they didn't really want to delve on it. We saw her holding 3 wreaths that had a string tied around them, many assuming that this is her final goodbye to the customer. She is now ready for marriage, meaning this is her last Reed dance as she is now taken. And we saw just a lot of activity ahead, of this particular Reed dance in terms of where it was going to be held. When he made that first announcement that this Umkhosi Womhlanga is going to move from Enyokeni to Emashobeni, there was a lot of criticism, and the royal household really, took its time in explaining what the dynamics are and some of the misinformation, which they refer to as misinformation, that was out there, particularly with regards to the construction of that dome in Enyokeni Palace, where it was about 140 million rand. Them clarifying there that particular construction of that dome is something that was initiated by the late King Goodwill Zwelithini, and it did conclude recently, which clashed, or rather which confused many people, thinking that why is it that a dome is being built, so much money is being spent, yet Umkhosi Womhlanga is moving to another palace. And the Zulu royal household essentially just saying that every king has his own legacy, and him moving things to this particular palace is him, just creating his own legacy. Onomehlo also quite pleased with the way in which the very first Umkhosi Womhlanga held Emashobeni, being very successful in terms of security, in terms of the facilities for the maidens, and this is something that has been done with provincial government, and you would have heard Isilo there also speaking to the fact that he is very pleased with, the relationship they have with, the provincial government. We also saw in attendance, Thabo, the Welobedi's nation's reign queen, Masalanabo Mujaji the 7th, who's also facing her own throne contestation battles in court through her older brother, Prince Lekulekela Mujaji. She was in attendance. We also saw the wife of former President Jacob Zuma, Thobeka Madiba Zuma, in attendance as well. And in fact, the former president making his own grand entrance towards the end of proceedings. In fact, he walked in when the king was done speaking, and we saw the maidens get quite excited when they saw that the former President Jacob Zuma was also in attendance. And the king also just mentioning that this particular day was not for him to make long-winded speeches. He spoke, you'd remember last week in Gwavuma at the Matlobeni Palace, where there was also a reed dance, and him just saying that today is all about the maidens and today is for them, to sing and dance, and this is what we are here for. So this particular part of the program has ended, and now the singing and dancing will commence. I'm going to move out so Gift Nkosi can show you some of what is happening here. But the king has concluded speaking, saying that he's not going to make this long-winded, had a tongue lashing for social media, for the media, for political commentators, who he said, purport themselves to be experts. But at the end of the day, saying this is about the maidens and we are here for them, and this is why he's not dragging the process any further. We are now going to continue with the business of the day.
And for yourself, Nobuhle, I mean, you've been observing since yesterday. You were a little bit concerned at the start of things that maybe logistics could have been a challenge. How did it all pan out?
Tabo, it turns out that it all turned out really well. There were some teething problems, which the royal household did say, yes, this is a first and there will be some problems, but with something this big and with change, there will always be problems. But today it seems as though everything went well, even though the maidens had waited close to over 2 hours for the king to arrive. We knew that the program would start at 9, but the maidens had to stand outside the crowd for longer than usual while we waited for the king to arrive.
Nobuhle Modise, I appreciate your intervention live for us there in Pongola.